Morning to you out there, today being the 6th day of January 2025, the very first Monday in the month of January and in the year 2025. My name is Ajuluchuku Okabwe. You're up for this morning's Good Morning Anambra. But like we always do in our flagship program here, let us begin with just going for a short break. And then when the show resumes, we'll definitely introduce the guest that we have for you this morning that will be delving into the newspaper review for this morning. Don't go anywhere. The show is about to start. Glad to have you back. Right here in the studio, we have our guest for the newspaper review this morning, and his name is Barrister Simon Nwafo is a former, who is a public affairs analyst. Happy New Year.
Listen to you. Good morning, Anambra, and all our viewers all over the world.
Thank you so much for that submission. Now, quickly, let us go down to the nitty-gritty of what we have for you, starting with the news from ABS website. And the first news we have for you is Awka traditional ruler Obimosu reassures of conducive business environment. Also, we have Orofia United in Diaspora donates vehicles, security gadgets, orders to Abagana Vigilante Service. Wow, this is really, really lovely to read about, in this new year. We know the security challenges. Let's take it from the very first story. A whole lot of things has been happening, business and, So when traditional rulers, custodians of our tradition and the hinterlands comes out, and they now begin to reassure us that, don't worry, businesses definitely will continue to boom as expected. What's your take on that?
Yes, it's a cheering news. Just as you said, it's hope rising. Because the situation on ground, just as the second headline, as we are saying, both of them are a bit of encouragement to the populace. The situation on ground makes some people to even lose hope or be frustrated. But when you hear news like this, it will encourage you that there is still hope. And I thank the Obi gives him most to the traditional ruler because he is the host of the traditional ruler hosting the capital territory. So when people hear about this, they will be encouraged. The poor masses will know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Then the second point, as you mentioned, I am particularly impressed because let me use that opportunity to commend some of our better privileged citizens who are doing one thing or the other to help the less privileged. The people in diaspora donating security gadgets, vehicles, and so on and so forth. Because this Yuletide opened the eyes of some. We saw many people who died just to secure half bag of rice, 10 kg, this and that. But it's very unfortunate. We've never had it so in Nigeria. We've never had it so. But I also want to commend some people who have that spirit of Onyaga and one near in Igbo land. Because going home, going to different places, I was impressed when I saw so many people, some of the indigenous in diaspora, posting things, rice, cow, to be killed for their community. Because they know that people are just dying here.
Yeah.
And if you see the type of wishes and prayers people are pouring to them, I went home and I saw old women, some receiving 2 times from this place, not the ones that you go and struggle and die, but they will count because anybody in the kindred knows the people who are. At least start from your kindred, start from your village. You know the people on ground we know. So I want to commend them. And then the people doing it jointly in diaspora in Abag and are doing it jointly. It's a welcome development. That is the spirit of Igbo nation.
Yeah.
And I want to commend that.
Thank you so much for that. Quickly, let's get down to the first paper for review this morning, and that's the Daily Times newspaper. And the banner headline is saying President Tinubu preaches unity in Southeast. That's lovely to see. Here you have Niger government to support Nigerian Air Force. And we also have Trump inauguration. Nathaniel Bassi to minister at inaugural prayer breakfast. That's lovely. Bauchi government inaugurates 500 road marshals. Serap alleges missing 825 billion naira, $2.5 billion in NNPCL. And at the mast of the Daily Times, you see 2027, Kwankwanso bombs North, accuses leaders of falsehood. That you can read in this the papers, so you get to know. And then at the base of it, you have a fight against insurgencies. CDS commend troops, calls for improved efficiency. Now, let's take this last story from the update we just saw on Anambra website, talking about the same insecurity, you understand? Where you say that CDS is commending troops, you understand, for the gallant display in trying to curb insurgency in some parts of the country. That is highly commendable. But sincerely speaking, just like we saw in the Anambra news, our website, you can combat these things with the necessary tools, like vehicles were provided, security gadgets, and the rest of it all. We need to improve our surveillance in our cities. It will help a whole lot. There's nothing wrong in having attached to the street lights that you see, providing, beauty to our streets, giving us that illumination at night while we drive with security cameras. Sincerely speaking, it will help reduce the rate of crime, because security, like I keep saying, is a responsibility of all. And what do you have to say about that?
Definitely, you've spoken well. Now, if you look at, sometimes you communicate with our people overseas. They see us as people indulgent. And that's because, and if you look at even the sophisticated weapons and the tactics of committing crime, some people, we all learn it from there. But because they have a working system, they have institutions that work well, then they know how to check everything. Somebody can just rise up and become mad and start shooting everything. But within seconds, police will take control of that, arrest the person, pin him down. Something may happen anywhere. They will dictate it. We have the ability, we have the capability to do that. But the thing is, corruption is our problem. Now, people will be, the money we would have used to put all these things in place will be diverted to wrong channel. The system, the institutions that's supposed to be strong to check all these things, because there must be deviance in the society.
Yep.
The law, the framers of law, the draftsman knows that there must be people who will not. So that is why they always make provision how to combat that, how to check that. But our people will not like to, the leaders will not like to have strong institutions that will follow things according to rule, so that the society can have a breath,
fresh breath of life.
That is the problem.
Yeah. Now, what do you have to say about President Tinubu preaching unity in the Southeast?
That is true. That is necessary. That is necessary. But I would like every leader to be pursuing everything we are saying with a sincerity of heart.
And purpose.
Purpose. So, because when you, I used to tell people that the best way to teach when we were in primary school is many female, I get me female, do as I do. If we are preaching one thing, and if we are saying that we are pursuing peace in the east, southeast, that is good, that is encouraging. But let us see you doing everything to ensure that peace reigns in the southeast and all over Nigeria. But when we are saying one thing and doing the other, people will not take us serious.
Well, that's good. Quickly, let's see. The SERAP alleges missing 825 billion and $2.5 billion in NNPCL. Well, that is humongous. A lot of money we are talking here.
Sometimes when they are calling money in Nigeria, it seems as if it's in the dream. So many people are not eating. If you go through the roads now, the streets, you see people going to refuse dumps, scavenging. They go under the gutter. The other day I was walking. This is no longer what they do in the night or early in the morning. You see children of school age going through the gutter in order to get a can of empty can of bottled water or soft drinks. Some families, one woman, some families, all the children there are scavengers. They are just walking from one street to the other in order to see something to eat. Then you see people mentioning this amount of money being, sometimes people don't have conscience. May God have mercy on us.
Yeah, well, quickly, let's see what we have on the next paper for review this morning, and that's the Punch newspaper. And the banner headline is talking federal government, new virus. Federal government tightens monitoring to quarantine China passengers. And the writer says, experts demand proactive steps as new virus surges in China, ravages children. And we also have advertorial, Tinubu Mba taking Enugu on the path of 21st century development, commissions multiple development projects. APC dismisses PDP's threat to unseat Oyebanji in 2026. 5 fear dead, banks burnt in Delta tanker explosion. Families solicit funds to bury Nigerian students in UK. 18 policemen present when hoodlums attacked me. Oshun Monarch. Yuletide holidays, Lagos, Kano, Delta, other schools resume today. LP can win 2027 poll without merger. That's coming from the party. Let's talk about this new virus. Federal government tightens monitoring to quarantine China passengers.
I think that is very, very important. That is the key point to be addressed, because we cannot afford to be taken unawares.
After what happened?
But that's what I want to mention now. As we cannot, afford to be taken unawares. Since it is said, let us be proactive. I've always maintained that it is better to be proactive than being reactive. Let us not wait now. As they have said it, let us, do the talking. Let us put it in action.
Let it not just be on the front page.
Let it not only be on the front page now, this and that. Before you know it, because we cannot forget during the Jonathan era, if not for that lady medical doctor that sacrificed her life. Yeah. You see? And Jonathan acted well. That was what saved people from that epidemic. So this one now that has been announced throughout the whole world, let us start in time to put checks so that we cannot, there should be no threat at all. Government must live up to expectation. Thank you.
Well, Mba taking Enugu on the path of 21st century development. What's your take on that, based on the fact that the president was in Enugu, and while he was there, he commissioned a lot of development projects?
Yes, I think it's a commendable venture. Well, first of all, I'm an analyst. I've always been on the news, both within the state, outside the state, nationally and internationally. So I have been hearing the performance of Peter Mba in Enugu. And I think that is what it ought to be. Why? Because we know the circumstances that surrounded his emergence as the governor. So he had to live up to expectation. As they said, to whom much is given, much is expected. He has to justify that he is truly prepared for governance. That is my problem with some of the people who lead the nation. You see that they are after the position to be, they didn't put anything in place to rule.
No manifesto.
No manifesto. And when they assume the office, you see that they don't have any plan. Just a plan to assume office, to rig election and assume office. Then when you come there, it will take you 6 months to select it, to have a plan. And that plan, you continue in preparation. First time we go, you start to plan for another time. It's very unfortunate, wasting people time and resources. So Mba, I think he has a foresight. He has a vision from what I have seen so far. I'm not saying he's perfect. And I want to commend also, I think our people have now started realizing the difference between governance and the politics. That a president is not from my party does not mean that I cannot work with him. That a governor is not from my party does not mean. And that is why I will also ask the governors to allow free local government elections. That when another party wins in a local government does not mean that you cannot work with the governor who is not from the same party. The only thing, let them give people governance. There is whenever immediately you assume office as a president or a governor, you are no longer belonging to any political party. You are the father of the whole state or the whole nation.
It's like a father saying, I want my child to read medicine. If you don't read medicine,
you are no longer my son. That is the point.
Makes sense.
So when they start to bridge this gap, when they start to know that you can work, we can, and then the president will come to this thing, to commend and the open works done by another governor in a different political party. That will show people that these people understand what is the difference between governance and the political parties.
Quickly, LP, Labour Party can win 2027 poll without major. I find that kind of somewhat hard to believe, bearing in mind that Labour Party don't seem to have their act together. After what transpired at the 2023 polls, we were expecting them to be a very vocal opposition party, but nobody seems to see them actualizing that role. What's your take on this statement from them about winning 2027 without major?
I think it is actually hilarious, because when I heard that the headline, I was laughing in that. The question should be, which Labour Party, which faction? Because now we don't know who and who is in this Labour Party or the other Labour Party. When the one faction is suspending and sabotaging the presidential candidate and the only governor they have. And we know that Labour Party has been there for over the years, and nobody knew that they were existing.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. They were just there to answer them. Now that they had their light, a savior, a Daniel has come to judgment. Instead of them to use wisdom and utilize, that is, you don't set your house on fire. Even if there is a rat, you pursue the rat you pursue the rat wisely, and they kill the rat, not to set the house on fire because there is a rat in the house. And some people are opportunists. That is how I survived. When I was looking at the scenario, what I knew, if you look at all the people who were making those noise, they were just trying to secure their position, their stomach, this thing. That they want to displace them as a state governor of LP, a state chairman, this and that. Those people. They created this thing that anybody who must contest in Labour Party would have been in Labour Party for years and this and that. You have been there for years, you didn't achieve anything. People don't have, instead of to work with the masses that came in, so many people belong to obedient movement. They were not Labour Party card-carrying members. You would have used the opportunity. Let us see. I don't know. In short, it's difficult for me to comment on it because I don't know which. Is it the Labour Party that is led by Bure or is it the Labour Party that the other man from Lagos came to cause havoc? He was silenced. Then this man now, instead of you, even if you voluntarily, even if you allow peace to reign, you can still enjoy as the one who has worked to set the party in order. But an African man will always like to stay tight in this thing and they mess up the whole system. They will see what they have done to themselves.
Yeah, quickly. Let's see what we have. Next paper for review this morning is the Vanguard newspaper. And the banner headline is 2025, Organized Private Sector Charts Economic Growth Path. And then you can see the writer there says, Nasima Man LCCI make recommendations as businesses brace for more challenges amid hope for brighter year ahead. Nasima seeks urgent reforms to address private sector challenges, says 2024 performance unsatisfactory. Major changes needed to stimulate growth. That's coming from MAN. 2024, most challenging year for MSMEs, as-born, private public sector's collaboration imperative. That's coming from LCCI. Federal government pledges impactful 2025. Then you have on the mast there of the Vanguard newspaper, single-use plastics. Enforcement on ban starts in 14 days in Lagos. That's coming from the Lagos state government. Address food insecurity, economic hardship. Now, southern monarchs tell federal government. 4 dead, scores injured, 2 banks raised as petrol tanker explodes at Abo. Fubura can transact business with 3 lawyers, court rules. And then you have, still on the presidential visit to Enugu, Tinubu Mba doing everything possible to provide security, attract investors to Enugu. We haven't reached 90% completion. That's coming from Boa Refinery. Drug shipment, NDLEA nabs wanted kingpin, Nollywood filmmaker. No plans to destroy 6 million PVCs, says INEC. And then on the sports note, you have Enyimba 4, Black Bulls 1. CAF Champions Cup, Confederations Cup, Ideye, Atule lead Black Bulls route. Then vet doctors raise concern over dog attacks and deaths. PDP will produce more governors in 2027. That's coming from the National Working Committee. Quickly, organized private sector, 2025 charts economic growth. Do you see something better than what we witnessed in 2024 happening this year, talking about economic growth and improved way of life in this part of the world?
Well, they said once there is life, there is hope. So we'll always like to confess positive and not negative. But the only thing is, if we must achieve anything, we must be prepared to do the sacrifice. We must be prepared to do things the way it ought to be done. he who fails to plan has planned to fail. That's the simple thing. So if we want to improve, I think from experiences we have gathered, just like the other day now, we are hearing the news that NNPC Warri refinery is working. So if we have known that, started learning from the mistakes of the past, why we got to this level we are. And then we start to plan and they work against depreciating more, going down more. Then there will be hope. Nothing is impossible. We can improve from our state. But when we fold our hands and think that it will just, it's mere talking, then things will continue to deteriorate.
All right, quickly, let's go to the next paper for review this morning, The Guardian. Public health environment suffer amid thriving informal recycling system. And then you have NAPTIP arrest notorious Dubai-based human trafficker. 2027 watch, mass transit reproach on Nigeria. At the mast, you have Ama's expanding role in the black creative industry is real, says Raymond Osagwe. And you have art page on page 17, Professor Wole Soyinka in the prism of age, public health. We talked about, in the last news, we were talking about the doctors talking about, the vet doctors talking about increased deaths from dog bites and stuff like that. Now we're having environment suffer amid thriving informal recycling system. From the picture here, you can see someone fetching water while there is a dump site, you know, people polluting the water that someone is fetching here. You know, a healthy nation is a prosperous nation. So if we don't take care of our environment, definitely to come back and definitely hit us below the belt. What do you have to say about that?
The point is that we are just saying one thing. You see, when the water spoils from the source, then definitely you cannot get good water from there. So now, you know why the whole environment is, people don't care again where they eat, where they buy, where they do this. It's because people are hungry. And wherever they see anything, food, why should people die in tens and in hundreds because of one cup of rice, one dish? Because people are very hungry. People do a lot of things. So if you look at now, even if people can see the refuse dumps here, refuse the disposal sites, and yet people are selling tomatoes there, doing this, and people will be buying. So far, it is cheaper there. So far, they will see flies on the food there. People will be eating. Every nook and cranny now is where you have food sellers, and people are buying. Nobody cares. People can even divide the corn and the bread and be selling, and the flies will be coming up. The people are eating. And the person selling is encouraged to sell because he sees market. People are coming to buy no matter how it is. So that is the point, because people are hungry. If things are put in place, if government come up with a good institutions to put things in place, then even the person selling cannot see any customer, and you will cease to sell there. So that is the point. And then they have an alternative. They have a provision for good good place where they will sell. When you give people better alternative, nobody will like to go to the wrong way.
Yeah. Quickly, the Daily Trust newspaper is next. The banner headline is screaming, 2 trillion power project stalled. That's talking about 2 trillion naira power project stalled. Accountability, PPP key to reform. That's coming from the experts. At the master of the Daily Trust newspaper, you'll find bandits kill Meyati Allah chair, kidnap wife's daughter. Chicken sellers slash prices amidst low patronage. New virus hits China, over 5,000 hospitalized in the UK. WAEC introduces receipt exams for candidates. Drug trafficking, Saudi Arabia releases 3 Nigerian women after 10 months in jail. 4 killed. Bank raised in Delta tanker explosion. Inauguration of multiple projects, still talking about the president's visit to Enugu. Tax reforms, Northern elders, Katsima urge more consultations. 2 trillion power project stalled. 2 trillion naira. Power project stalled. And yet we can't boast of 24 uninterrupted power supply.
You're talking of 24. Can you boast of 12 hours? No, let us be sincere.
Are you talking of the entire federation, or are you just talking of a part of the country?
Tell me where you are living now. Where I am living, let us start from charity begins at home.
Yeah.
Can you boast of 12 or 14 hours in every day? In this part, in any part of the, so there are some places in the nation.
This is the reason why we can't have that, because 2 trillion naira.
That is what I wanted to say. You see the problem now. It came to my mind when they were talking about China. The new virus that came there, and how many people died. You see, everyone who doesn't believe that there is God, we believe because of what happened in COVID. And do you see in this Nigeria now that all the problems we are suffering are man-made problems? What this type of natural disaster and so on and so on, it doesn't occur in Nigeria as such. But look at the advanced nations, they will be experiencing one thing or the other. You will not see it here. But we are the people inflicting pains on our people. That is the point I'm making.
And not modern nature.
Not the natural things. So like this 2 trillion now, if it is put in the right place, people's suffering will be elevated. But because they will misuse it, and then we inflicting pains and hardship, suffering to people will be dying. The other day, they announced the oldest person who died in Japan. I think it's about 117 years. After the 120 died the other time. Then this one is about 117 or 116 years, the oldest man. Look at the lifespan of Nigerians. Those places you see the natural this and that, the things, they produce things that will pollute. Yet they are surviving because you have good institutions that will manage everything that comes. But here, you will see that it is what we will be bringing by ourselves that will be terminating people's life. It's very unfortunate. The 2 trillion, if you put it in the right, you know what it will achieve.
It will generate, it will go a long way.
Trillion.
Yeah. Quickly, let's say the Nigerian Tribune and the Blueprint newspaper will be taking those papers together, starting with the Nigerian Tribune. LND seeks South backing to form national party. That's the banner headline, says new platform will be for Nigerians dissatisfied with APC and PDP. Remittances from abroad shore up naira, boost exchange rate. How dirty December defied Nigeria's economic crisis. The rider says billions spent on parties, cars, hotels, concerts, fireworks, films. Yield-tide. Fintech payment platforms hold sway as bank customers lament poor services. Importers seek quarterly exchange rate regime, duty waiver to revive trade. Onion farmers link price hike to scarcity, flood and climate change. Ribadu Adeboye Eneche listed among 100 most reputable Africans. Outcry over persistent power outage in Ekpe. Well, that's probably because of the 2 trillion naira projects that was stalled. Yeah. Quickly, let's see what we have on the Blueprint. The banner headline: Kwankwaso to Northern leaders, elders, Your choice of presidential candidate undermining democracy. Then the writer says NEF urges further dialogue on tax reform bills, wants extensive engagement with critical stakeholders. FCT police rescue abandoned day-old baby, arrest mother. Railway projects get 41.49 billion in 2025 budget. That's coming from federal government. Confederations Cup, Ideye calls for Enyimba to win first game. Saudi Arabia releases 3 Nigerians persecuted for drug offense. 5 persons die in Delta tanker explosion. Bank houses burnt. That's all we have on the blueprint. Quickly, let's talk about this LND 6 South backing to form national party. Is forming of a national party the major issue we have here? Just like what you said earlier on about our politicians, all they think about is
how to
grab
occupy
power,
position.
how to grab power. But then, the plans of improving the lifestyle of Nigerians seems to be far from their agenda. What's your take on this? Do we actually need a national party right now, forming of a national party, and talking about a platform to assuage dissatisfied Nigerians with the runnings of APC and the PDP?
Yes, I think I will not blame them if they're in their quest to grab power, because I'm a political scientist. Political science is defined as every activity geared towards acquisition of power. Maintaining the power and the use of the power. So everything that you are doing in politics is how to acquire power and how to sustain the power and how to enforce the power. So it's not wrong. But the only thing is, when you are doing it by any means, how to acquire power by any means, that is wrong. And then another thing that will baffle somebody is, when you don't know anything, you don't have anything upstairs, but you are eager to acquire power in order to be there and to answer that you are president, you are governor, or to amass wealth. That is the wrong way. Like what we read about what Kwankwaso was saying, telling the North. If he's saying from honest mindset, it is good that your choice of presidential undermines democracy. But let it not be from selfish ambition, but because you didn't choose me. That is why he's condemning it. Because why am I saying it? Like some people will never forgive. There was another headline that said Nigerians are dissatisfied with the APDP and APC. See, that is why some people find it difficult to forgive this INEC chairman. And that is why some people are fed up with what the LP is doing. Because many people are almost dead. So they saw a hope coming. They saw that you have an alternative. And it's always good. I'm a political scientist. It's always good to have checks and balance before you have balances. If you don't have checks, you cannot have balances. So PDP and the APC have made this nation to become, as if it is their, we are their slaves. And people have now made people saw hope coming from somewhere. So a channel that they can use to escape the rot that is about to come. And then somebody came and messed it up. So it's very unfortunate. I wish that that zeal and they would have continued. At least if not for any other thing, even if they grab the power, they will be having checks. They will be very careful because they know they have another power that can unseat them if they mess up. But if you look at now, the whole system is messed up. And they have succeeded in messing LP up. PDP is scattered. So they can do anything and nobody will challenge them. That is the problem.
Well, is a nice one to see there, telling us that there might not be, well, there's a need. Every person is entitled to his own opinion. Still talking about food inflation and the rest of it, onion farmers and linking price hike to scarcity, price hike and scarcity to flood and climate change. By now, we should be taking care of this issue of, you know, we understood what happened last time around when the dam broke and then affected some parts of the northern states. So they are telling us now that that singular act is the reason why some people ate Christmas rice and stew without enough onion to go with it.
And that dam will break another year. Because that dam has been always the same thing for over 10 years now. No solution to it. That is the place we see ourselves. That is the situation we see ourselves. It's not an emergency. It's not a surprise. It's something you know that will happen. And they will announce to people to get prepared, leave your place and go to a safer place. For how long? Sonny Okoson said, how long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? That is the problem. For over 10 years, people have been leaving their houses. You cannot find a solution to this thing. And you say you are a government. It's very unfortunate. Now, so giving us a reason that is why people eat rice without tomato. Next year, the same thing will happen. Next 2 years, the same thing will happen. And even it will be happening in a worse situation. But this year may be better than, but God forbid. Yeah, that's the problem.
That's why we are anticipating that this year will be better. But quickly, how dirty December defied Nigeria's economic crisis, with the writer saying billions spent on parties, cars, hotels, concerts, fireworks, and films. Because we are going through a lot economically, so should it translate in, you know, the festive period?
Yes.
Because Nigerians seem to know how to celebrate, and they celebrate in a very loud manner, which was evident in most parts of the country if you were observant on the social media.
Yes, the problem is that is the lifestyle people enjoy. But if you look at it, actually, some people celebrated in a very lavish this thing. But yet, if you go, the majority, because if people are celebrating, if it is the whole, why did people die in tents and in different parts of the nation, not one place, to secure rice for Christmas? So that is the problem. Yeah. There's only very few that are doing that. And because people are hungry, some people will search there and then to celebrate with a very few where they find themselves. Nigerians are used to that. And that is the mindset we find ourselves. Because a white man may even eat a granite and the melon in the morning, and yet have money to donate to motherless babies' home. So that a white man will celebrate his Christmas, going to give joy to other people.
But we do that here with some notable Nigerians in diaspora.
The Nigerians in diaspora. They see, because they have learned the right attitude to life. No, okay. Many of them will never come back. Okay. Many of them there.
Okay, thank you so much. And that's the much we can take on this morning's press review. We want to say a very big thank you to Simon Ezoforma, a public affairs analyst. Public affairs analyst, for making yourself available. Well, the show still continues. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be coming back on the other side. I still remain Ajuluchukwu Okabwe. The show continues shortly.
Thank you, and remember.